Hey, what's going on everybody? Justin here, and I'm really excited to share this video with you all because it's going to be my TBR for the 2021 Springathon. This, if you guys don't know, is a nature-based readathon. I got my nature bookshelf here that I'm going to be sharing in the near future and stuff, so I'm super excited. I joined it last year, had a lot of fun with it, and there needs to be more nature reading in general, I think. So it's just a really cool idea for a readathon, and it takes place over the course of the first 2 weeks of May, so I'm like gonna be barely on time with this TBR, but that's okay. So May 1st through May 14th, and I wrote everyone down just to make sure I didn't forget anyone. And this was created by Natalie over at Curious Reader and Emma at A Cup of Books. I think they started it last year, and I worked with Emma on the History Challenge readathon, so I know it's going to be really cool stuff kind of going on. And I think this year they've also invited a couple more people. We have Juliana at The Blank Garden, and I believe that's a website or a blog. And then there is also Doris at All the Books, and Heidi at My Reading Life, and I'll leave all their links down below. And Doris and Heidi also run the Book Naturalist Instagram page, I do believe, which I've been following since they started and stuff. So really good stuff there. And let's just go ahead and get started talking about what this readathon is all about. There's only one real challenge, which is basically reading one nature nonfiction book, and there's a lot of different kinds of nature books. There's travel books, there's hardcore kind of science books, kind of the stuff like I read a lot, conservation ecology books that I really enjoy, all kinds of stuff going on. So a lot of memoirs and biographies now kind of incorporate nature themes, and kind of the Ages for Hawk, Helen MacDonald kind of vein, I guess you could say. So there are a lot of options for nature reading, so definitely I think everyone will be able to find something kind of to fit that to join in the readathon. I think there's also going to be Instagram challenges or prompts or something like that as well, so definitely check out their Instagrams and all that stuff as well. There is going to be one group read if you want to follow along with the group read, and it is The Way Through the Woods by Lit Woon Long. And I believe this book, just from what I could gather and stuff, is about the author, I believe lost someone. I can't remember if it was a spouse or a family member or something, and she just sort of was able to sort of recover and just start to I don't know, feel better and move past it or something, just by being out in nature or something, and reconnecting with nature, and that kind of helped her settle with her grief and stuff. I think that. So it actually does sound like a really kind of good read. I put it on my TBR. I don't know if I'll get to it this readathon, but it's definitely on my TBR now. And I believe that's it for the general stuff. There are a couple prompt ideas, and that's kind of where we're gonna get the TBR going here. And let's see, before I get started, let me know if you want any recommendations for any of these prompts, specifically, or just kind of nature book recommendations. I guess if you want me to do a video on anything like that, I'd be happy to kind of share my recommendations from what I got and everything. I'm always nature reading has it always used to, it was usually third or fourth kind of on my reading. Now it's probably tied with history for first, depending on the month and stuff like that. So I really do enjoy kind of nature, sciencey, biology, ecology, environmental sort of books. So yeah, let me know if you want any recommendations on that. So okay, so the first prompt is migration/home, and you can interpret these kind of as loosely or as strictly as you want to. With the first one, it's pretty strict and straightforward. I got the Home and Instinct, Meaning and Mystery in Animal Migration by Bernd Heinrich. He's one of my favorite authors. I've probably raved about him in so many videos at this point, but he does live part-time in the southern Maine woods and stuff, and he does kind of a lot of biology experiments and kind of observations and stuff, just based around his cabin in the Maine woods. So I think that's just super cool, being a Maine person myself. So I want to basically read all his books at some point, and obviously this one is all about animal migration, so I figured that fits the prompt just about as well as it could. All right, and for the home portion of the prompt, and just want to let everyone know too, you don't have to follow the prompts at all. It's just kind of just general ideas to kind of get you thinking about stuff. For the home portion, I'm going with The World of Northern Evergreens by E.C. Pailu, and this is the second edition apparently. And you know, I live in the far north essentially, so I live in an evergreen, like, you know, kind of the coniferous forest habitat, like ecosystems and stuff. So I just thought this was like a cool book when I saw it. It's part like field guide, but part like ecology and kind of like lore or something. I'm not 100% sure, but I did see like a key like in the middle of the book. But it does seem like there's a lot of sort of just kind of underlying kind of, I don't know, like I said, kind of like lore, just kind of like, you know, going through the woods and just like knowing stuff, I guess, of the coniferous forest. So it just sounded really, really cool, and that's why I picked that one up. And obviously home, just because it's the same ecosystem I live in. All right, the next prompt is Bloom/Decay. All right, for Bloom, I'm going with David Attenborough's Amazing Rare Things, The Art of Natural History in the Age of Discovery. Also with Susan Owens, Martin Clayton, and Rhea Alexandrados. Hopefully I pronounced that like halfway right. I picked Bloom, or I went with Bloom for this one, just because, as you can see, obviously there's a flower on the cover, but there's lots of like really great artwork in this, obviously, because it's based on, you know, the illustrations during like kind of, you know, the 17 and 1800s when people were starting to really kind of classify things and identify things and whatnot. Plus, you know, David Attenborough is part of it, so that's like a super plus as well. And for Decay, I'm going with an audiobook that I've had for a while, and it's The Entangled Life by Marilyn Sheldrake, I believe. And I believe this is like the second book for the Book Naturalist book club pick and stuff, like on their Instagram and stuff. But yeah, it's an audiobook that I've had for a long time, and it's just, you know, I think fungi fits. That's what this book is all about. Is, you know, mushrooms and fungi and stuff like that. So I figured, you know, with Decay, that was a pretty pertinent topic, so might as well get some audiobooks in here, hopefully, during those 2 weeks, and that's the one I'm going to be going with. All right, next up is Forage and Hibernate. Now, Hibernate was the only one I actually didn't find a book, like, off the top of my head. I'm preparing for this video, though might change. I have, like, one book kind of, like, on bears, but after, like, looking at it, it wasn't really one I wanted to read, like, right at the moment. So, you know, that was kind of, like, just the, you know, the first thought that kind of popped in my head. Winter World by Baron Heinrich would be a great one, just because it's all about winter survival for different animals and things. But like I said, I don't have one for Hibernate. If you have one, let me know down in the comments. But for Forage, I'm going with Understanding Bird Behavior by Wen-Fei Tong, an illustrated guide to what birds do and why. And obviously a lot of what birds are going to be doing is foraging and finding food, just because they're like super high energy endothermic animals. They need like a lot of calories, you know, for, I mean, relative to their size and stuff, just to kind of like keep going and stuff. So yeah, foraging is going to be really important to bird behavior, and I believe there's a whole chapter on that, if I believe, after when I look through it. Yeah, finding food is the first like major section of the book, so I figured foraging, that works pretty well. And lastly, there's Buzz/Stillness. Now for Buzz, I'm going with A Life on Our Planet, My Witness Statement, and A Vision for the Future by David Attenborough, just for the buzz, because this is also, this is the companion book to a Netflix documentary that was really well received last year, I believe. Yeah, the fall or winter of last year. You know, there's kind of a lot of hype around it and stuff. I love David Attenborough, you know, Planet Earth, life on Earth, all that kind of stuff. Really good things going on there, so that's kind of why I went with Buzz. For this one though, you know, there are quite a few B books that were on my TBR too, but just went with this one instead. And for Stillness, I'm going with, I have it up here on the top shelf. I'm going with the photo art Vanishing: The World's Most Vulnerable Animals by Joel Sartori. And I'm going with this one just because there's a lot of, like, you know, still photos. I don't know, I guess I don't know what a still photo is, but there's a lot of, like, photos and things where it's, like, almost like, you know, just kind of, like, solo stills of animals and things. It's going to be really sad, obviously, just because these are a lot of endangered species and stuff. But these photo art books are really good, and I haven't read this one yet. So I will definitely be doing that one for Stillness. Alright, so those were the 4 prompts. There are a couple other books I still want to get to as well. One audiobook that I want to read that I've had forever and ever, and I just like keep forgetting about it or something, is The Feather Thief. And this is by, I wrote it down, Kirk Johnson. And this is kind of like, I have a lot of books where it's like journalists kind of investigating, you know, kind of like the underground black market stuff with like animal life and things. Really enjoyed that. Like, for example, The Dragon Behind the Glass. You know, there's obviously like The Orchid Thief. I read The Falcon Thief. So there's a lot of books kind of like in that vein, and I want to say this one is like endangered or rare species of birds were being poached. I want to say for their feathers, for like fly fishing or just for collections and stuff. Pretty crazy underground stuff there, but you know, these books are kind of fun to read. Obviously, it's kind of like more on a sad topic, but just really interesting to just see how far, like, you know, humans' bounds are to, like, you know, take animals just for like some money and stuff. So that's why I want to listen to that book. And I got two more. I want to do, let's see, a reread of, I got another one on the top shelf. The Story of More, How We Got to Climate Change and Where to Go From Here by Hope Jarin. This was one of my favorite books last year. And it's short enough where I want to do like a reread. That way I can do like a nice, like kind of like in-depth review of the book. This is like the book I'd almost like recommend for people to read that are like kind of more like climate change deniers and stuff. Just because she's like so down to earth and just kind of like just lays everything out there, and you can't really argue with like anything she's saying. But it's not like one of those like super angry-ish books, if you know what I'm saying. They're just really well written and that kind of stuff too. So definitely encourage people to read this one. Like I said, especially if you're kind of like skeptical or on the fence about like climate change and things like that. And then lastly, another one I want to try to get to. I doubt I'm going to get to like everything because this is like 8 or 9, 10 books, something like that. In 2 weeks, not going to happen, but you know, you can dream, right? So Future Sea, How to Rescue and Protect the World's Ocean by Deborah Rowan Wright. And this is kind of all about, you know, kind of using like laws that are already on the books to kind of bring back protection for the oceans, because if you actually went by everything that's on the books, like 90+% of the ocean would already be kind of like in preserves or would be like off limits to most kinds of fishing and stuff like that, but it just doesn't happen. So kind of want to like do a deeper dive into this book and kind of just figure out what's going on with that. So there you have it. Those are all the books that I want to read somehow. Hopefully if I get through like maybe 6 of them or something like that during the Springathon. Be really excited for that. Let me know down in the comments if you have any nature book recommendations and if you are participating in this year's Springathon. I'd love to know about it. And if you got a video, leave a link down below and I'll go check it out for sure. Let's see all the plugs. Definitely check out my Instagram because I'm going to be doing all the kind of nature Springathon challenges, I guess. Twitter, my Twitter is pretty much dead, so don't even bother with that. But if you do want to support the channel, definitely check out my Etsy shop where I make signs and things like this. Covered a few different topics, things like that, you know, got Norse stuff, nature stuff, philosophy. Philosophy stuff. Wow, what a great selling point, huh? Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you're joining in the Springathon Readathon, and even if you're not, always remember, read victoriously.